Upbeat, futuristic intro music fades in and then fades to a background hum. Host *, welcome back to Space Repo, your portal to the cosmos. If you love exploring the final frontier, make sure to subscribe and join our community of space enthusiasts. Today, we're talking about a dream that has captured the imagination of visionaries like Elon Musk, setting foot on Mars. But while the idea of becoming a multi-planetary species is thrilling, the red planet isn't waiting with open arms. In fact, Mars is a silent, lethal trap, and the challenges of colonizing it are far greater than most people realize. So, let's journey beyond the hype and break down why Mars colonization is more dangerous than you think. Visual animation of a futuristic rocket landing on Mars. The ramp opens, and an astronaut in an advanced suit steps out onto the dusty red surface. The first obstacle a Martian colonist would face isn't a monstrous alien, but the very ground beneath their feet. The Martian regolith, or soil, is laced with a toxic chemical called perchlorate. On Earth, perchlorates are used in things like rocket fuel and fireworks, and they're known to be harmful to human health, especially the thyroid gland. On Mars, this toxic dust is everywhere. Visual, close-up animation showing microscopic perchlorate particles clinging to an astronaut's suit. Cut to an infographic showing the human thyroid gland and how perchlorates disrupt its function. This fine, corrosive dust would get into everything: habitats, water supplies, and even the air recycling systems. Imagine living in a home where every surface is coated in a thin layer of poison. Engineers would need to develop incredibly sophisticated decontamination protocols and filtration systems just to make a habitat livable. Astronauts would have to go through a rigorous cleaning process every single time they re-enter their base, or risk slow, long-term poisoning. Visual animation of an airlock system with lasers and air jets meticulously cleaning an astronaut's suit before they can enter the main habitat. Then there's the atmosphere, or rather, the lack of one. The Martian air is about 100 times thinner than Earth's and is composed of 95% carbon dioxide. It's completely unbreathable. This thin atmosphere also means there's virtually no protection from the harsh realities of space. One of the biggest threats is cosmic radiation. Visual, split screen. On one side, an animation shows Earth's magnetic field deflecting solar radiation. On the other, Mars is shown being bombarded by these same particles, which hit the surface directly. Without a strong magnetic field like Earth's, Mars is constantly bombarded by galactic cosmic rays and solar protons. These high-energy particles can shred DNA, significantly increasing the risk of cancer and causing other long-term health issues. Astronauts on the International Space Station are already exposed to much higher levels of radiation than we are on Earth, and they're still within our planet's protective magnetosphere. A trip to Mars, which could take 6 to 9 months each way, would expose colonists to an immense dose of radiation. Visual animation showing a timeline of a Mars mission. A radiation exposure meter for an astronaut is shown, climbing steadily during the journey, peaking during surface operations, and climbing again on the return trip. Even once they arrive, the danger doesn't stop. Colonists would need to live in habitats buried deep underground or shielded by thick layers of regolith or water ice to minimize their daily exposure. But what about stepping outside? Any surface excursion, even in the most advanced spacesuit, would be a calculated risk, adding to a lifetime radiation limit that could be reached far sooner than anyone would like. Visual, an astronaut is shown working outside a domed, partially buried habitat. A heads-up display inside their helmet shows a live radiation reading ticking upwards. Now, let's talk about something that holds us all down: gravity. Mars has only about 38% of Earth's gravity. While bouncing around in low gravity might sound fun, the long-term biological consequences are severe. Our bodies have evolved over millions of years to function perfectly in Earth's 1G environment. Our bones, muscles, and cardiovascular system are all designed to work against this constant pull. Visual, side-by-side comparison of the human skeleton on Earth and an animation showing what would happen on Mars. The Martian skeleton slowly shows signs of bone density loss. In a low-gravity environment, your body starts to adapt. It says, "Hey, I don't need all this dense bone and strong muscle anymore," and begins to shed it. Astronauts on the ISS lose about 1 to 2% of their bone mass for every month they're in space. This leads to a condition similar to osteoporosis, making bones brittle and prone to fracture. Muscles atrophy, and even the heart can weaken, as it doesn't have to pump as hard to circulate blood. Visual, infographic showing muscle atrophy in the legs and back. Another graphic shows the heart shrinking slightly in a low-gravity environment. While rigorous exercise routines can help mitigate these effects, they can't stop them entirely. A colonist living on Mars for years would face a continuous, uphill battle against their own biology. And what would happen if they ever wanted to return to Earth? The transition back to 1G would be brutal. Their bones, now more fragile, could easily break under the strain. Their hearts would struggle to pump blood, leading to fainting and other cardiovascular problems. They might become permanent residents of Mars, not by choice, but by biological necessity. Visual, a hypothetical scene of a returning Mars astronaut struggling to stand up after landing back on Earth, being assisted by medical personnel. Terraforming Mars, the process of engineering the planet to be more Earth-like, is often presented as the ultimate solution. The idea is to thicken the atmosphere, warm the planet, and introduce liquid water. This is a concept of monumental scale, requiring technology far beyond our current capabilities. The most popular theory involves vaporizing Mars's polar ice caps, which contain frozen carbon dioxide and water. Visual, grand, sweeping animation showing giant orbital mirrors focusing sunlight on the Martian poles, causing them to sublimate and release gas into the atmosphere. Releasing all that CO2 would theoretically kickstart a greenhouse effect, warming the planet enough for liquid water to exist on the surface. But there's a major problem. Recent studies have shown that Mars simply doesn't have enough accessible CO2 trapped in its poles and soil to create an atmosphere thick enough to support human life or liquid water long-term. Visual, an animation shows the released CO2 forming a thin haze, but then being stripped away by the solar wind because Mars lacks a protective magnetosphere. Even if we could somehow generate a thick atmosphere, without a global magnetic field to protect it, the solar wind would just strip it away over time, undoing all the work. We would have to not only engineer an entire planet's atmosphere but also somehow restart its molten core to generate a new magnetic field. We're talking about planetary engineering on a scale that is, for now, pure science fiction. Visual, a dramatic, conceptual animation showing a massive machine drilling deep into Mars's core, attempting to restart its dynamo effect. Colonizing Mars isn't just an engineering problem, it's a profound biological and ethical one. We are creatures of Earth, fundamentally tied to its gravity, its atmosphere, and its magnetic field. Every single aspect of our biology is calibrated for this world. Asking humans to live on Mars is like asking a fish to live on land. We can build an aquarium, but can it ever truly replace the ocean? Visual, slow-motion shot of an astronaut inside a Martian habitat, looking out the window at the desolate red landscape. They touch the glass, a look of contemplation on their face. The dream of Mars is a powerful one, and it pushes us to innovate and reach for the stars. But it's crucial to approach this dream with a healthy dose of reality. The red planet is not a backup Earth. It is a hostile, alien world that will test the absolute limits of our technology, our bodies, and our spirit. The first Martian colonists won't be pioneers in a new world. They will be survivalists in one of the harshest environments we have ever encountered. Visual, final wide shot of the lone astronaut on the vast, empty Martian plain as the two moons, Phobos and Deimos, are visible in the dark sky. The camera slowly pulls back, showing the small, fragile human presence against the immense, indifferent planet. What do you think? Are the risks of colonizing Mars worth the potential reward? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching Space Repo. If you enjoyed this journey into the challenges of space exploration, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more content. Until next time, keep looking up. Outro music fades in, and the Space Repo channel logo appears on screen.